You probably checked your phone this morning before you got out of bed. Maybe before you even opened both eyes. A notification, a quick scroll, 2 minutes of nothing in particular. And then you put it down and started your day feeling like something was already slightly off, like the day had started without you. That feeling is real, and it's not in your head. For 300,000 years, your ancestors woke up to a world with no cheap stimulation, no notifications, no social media, no slot machines in their pocket. Dopamine, the chemical your brain uses to drive behavior, was earned. You tracked an animal for 3 hours through rough terrain, and your brain flooded with it the whole time. Not as a reward for finding food, but as fuel for the pursuit. The longer and harder the chase, the more satisfying the outcome felt. Your brain was designed to make effort feel meaningful, because in a world where effort was required to survive, that was the only design that worked. That system ran for hundreds of thousands of years. Then the phone arrived. Dopamine isn't the pleasure chemical. That's a common mix-up. Serotonin handles pleasure. Dopamine is older and more primal. It's the drive towards something before you have it. The anticipation, the motivation to get up and go get the thing. When it's low, you don't feel sad exactly, you just feel nothing. Flat. Like everything requires more effort than it should. What the phone changed was the cost of dopamine. For the first time in human history, you could get a hit of that same chemical without doing anything at all. A like on a photo, a new message, a video that surprises you, a headline that makes you angry. Each of those triggers a small dopamine response, and they arrive every few seconds, for free with zero effort required. In the 1950s, a psychologist named B.F. Skinner was running experiments with pigeons and a button that dispensed food pellets. When the button gave a pellet every single time, the pigeons pressed it occasionally. But when he changed it so the pellet came out randomly, sometimes yes, sometimes no, the pigeons became obsessed. They pressed it constantly, even when they weren't hungry. The unpredictability made the behavior almost impossible to stop. Skinner called it variable reward, and he considered it the most powerful behavior-shaping mechanism he'd ever discovered. Casinos figured this out with slot machines, decades before smartphones existed. The design of your phone's apps is directly descended from that research, and over time, this breaks something. When your dopamine system gets flooded with constant, small hits that require no effort, the brain adapts. It physically reduces the number of dopamine receptors available, trying to restore balance. The baseline drops. Things that used to feel meaningful start to feel ordinary. A real conversation, a meal with someone you like, a walk outside. Your brain has been recalibrated to expect stimulation every few seconds, and when that doesn't happen, it reads the absence as boredom. A 2023 study found that heavy smartphone users showed measurably lower dopamine receptor density than light users. Their brains had changed structurally to compensate for the constant input. Your dopamine system recalibrated to a pace that real life can't match. That's why it's getting harder to read a full article without switching tabs. Why meetings feel unbearable. Why you reach for your phone in the middle of a conversation with someone you actually like. The ancient hunter who spent 3 hours tracking an animal had a dopamine system tuned to find that effort rich and meaningful. The same brain, dropped into 2026 with a smartphone, would be recalibrated within weeks. And that's exactly what's happened to most of us. So what do you actually do? The first and hardest thing is to not touch your phone for the first 30 minutes after you wake up. Your dopamine system is most impressionable in the morning, and feeding it a scroll session before you've done a single real thing sets the pace for the rest of the day. Give it silence instead. A cold shower, coffee made without a screen, let the system wake up on its own terms before you start throwing stimulation at it. The second thing is sequencing. Do something that requires real effort before opening any app. Write something. Exercise. Read a few pages. The order matters more than the activity. Effort before reward is the sequence your brain was built for over 300,000 years, and reversing it every morning puts you in deficit before the day has started.
The third is gaps. 1 hour in the morning without your phone. 1 hour in the afternoon. During those gaps, the first few minutes will feel uncomfortable. That discomfort is the system recalibrating, receptors slowly coming back online. It gets easier faster than you'd expect, and within a few days, the real world starts to feel a little more interesting again. And a fourth, don't use your phone as the last thing you do before sleep, and the first thing you do when you wake up. Your brain needs the beginning and end of the day to be anchored to something real, not to a feed designed to keep you scrolling. None of this requires deleting your apps or making dramatic changes. It requires doing things in a different order and sitting with 10 minutes of discomfort a day while your brain remembers what normal feels like. Your ancestors lived hard lives, but they had something worth reclaiming. A dopamine system calibrated to make the real world feel worth engaging with. That system is still inside you, running the same ancient code. The world it was built for is still out there. You've just been looking at a screen instead.